said to me, I find the kapur offen. That means good for that kid, because they told him he's not gonna point out anymore on Jews, you know.
Okay, we need to stop here and continue this with the next tape. This is tape 2 with Morry Malcmacher, July 22nd, 1996. So the kid was stabbed and the 2 Jewish boys picked him up?
And then the German told me to verschwunden, to go home. I walked a couple buildings, and then I go in a building, and I went in the basement, and I was afraid to go out, you know. Then I find over there some 2 more boys, they were hiding, so we stayed there. And then by 5 o'clock, I went out and I went home. My father was very angry with me. He said to me, you took such a big chance. If the German, what he got you right on the street, right in the front of the house, and if he would come to that rock and he would see that Polish kid is dead, he would kill you right there on the spot. I say, I just couldn't help it. I did it. And he begged me not to do things like, not to take chances like this anymore. So, this was with him. And then after a few days later, the Germans give an order that every Jew have to give up the gold and the silver. Well, we didn't have much gold. I saw all the time by my mother, for the holidays she wore, you know, nice, but I don't know if they give it up, but the silver, they have to give something, you know. So my mother was crying very hard. She have to give up the candelabra, what she light the candles Friday night, and this was a very big thing by mother to give this up. And then was, you know, and then was very hard work. You know, we had to go every day to work, and if we didn't go, they come look for us, and if they catch you, they beat you up very badly.
Did German soldiers come to your house and register you as Jews, and that's how they knew whether or not they...
This was the Judenrat. They know it. The Judenrat had to give to them exactly where everybody lives, you know. And they know it, and we got, and this was in 1940, me and my brother Moshe from New York, we got 2 yellow postcards. We should come to work. No, they announced, and these cards, they told us that we're going to go away to work, you know. It's going to be 3 to a room, and they're going to give us 3 meals a day, and it was very light work. We should come, we got the card Monday, next Monday to a place where like they play sake, you know, a huge place over there. And anybody not going to come, they going to come and kill the entire family, you know. So you can imagine my mother, my father, but that was no other way, you know. The very rich people, maybe they, you know, they took out papers from a doctor, whatever it is, but the card also said, with this card, if you walk on the street, if they're going to stop you to take you to work, you show them this card, they're going to let you go. And this is what's happened, you know. I took right away, I said, I'm going to walk the street, and I want to see what's happened. And they stopped me, you know. We had already the band with the star, and I showed them the card, They let me go, you know. So we thought maybe they mean good, you know. So that month they come, and we all gonna come. It was a lot of kids, you know, from 12 to 20, you know. The 12 was small kids, bigger kids, you know. And we come over there, maybe an hour later, a jeep come with a bunch of SS and the Gestapo, in a loudspeaker. They said that the place where we have to go is not ready yet. We should wait till next week. So we go home. And that time, everybody thought that they mean very well, the Germans, that they're not gonna do any harm to us.
Let me interrupt you and backtrack a little.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about Hitler and his policies in Germany at this time?
Well, no. Well, I never hear any discussions about Hitler. I mean, in the house, because that's all we know. In the morning we go to shul, and in the evening again for prayers, and busy with the cheder, busy with the public school.
You didn't pay attention to it?
We didn't pay any attention, but in Radom was 3 movie theaters, 3, you know, kinos. And it was a Kino Apollo, Kino Adria, and Kino Charny. Kino Charny, it was a German movie. They show German movies, you know, the soldiers marching like the High Hitler. And, you know, for kids, this was like, you know, and we used to go there.
It was like a parade. It was
parades, and here hold, we saw once in a while speeches, but who pays any attention to it, you know? And in 1938, when they throw out the German Jews to come to Poland, and they said what the Germans doing to the Jewish people, they burning synagogues and stuff. I guess in Radom was 2 or 3 churches, Germans. So I remember we went to shul, we heard that meeting, what they told us, and we said, if they can do it, why can we do it? Let's burn out the German churches. Same thing what they did. And they definitely not, they didn't allow to do this. But a bunch of kids, we went to that German theater, by the Kino Charny, and we went through with stones, and we broke a few windows, and then they stopped a little bit showing these movies. This I remember, we did it, you know. And we said, if they can do it, we can do it too.
Let me ask about the Judenrat. When did that begin?
Right away after they come, you know, it was like the Federation over here in Cleveland.
Like the Jewish Federation.
Like the Jewish Federation. But they did it like in German, a Judenrat. You know, they didn't call, we call it the Ezra before.
The what?
Ezra was the name of that thing, you know. It was, you know, if a poor Jew have to borrow some money, he went over there to borrow some money, and you know, like over here, the free Jewish law, the same thing was over there. See, the rich Jews got together and they put in some money. If a poor Jew needs money to run a business or whatever it is, so they borrow them and he pays back, you know.
And so right at the beginning of the war, the
Judenrat, and every Jewish person in Radom had to be a registered Judenrat.
Did you go to the Judenrat and register?
They registered. They know us very well, you know. And when they need people to work, we have to go all the time to the Judenrat before the ghetto. And they send us to work. I mean, the Germans come and pick us up.
Do you remember what that was like for the Jewish people to be working for the Germans?
It was terrible, you know. It was just, I mean, we know when you go, but you never know if you're going to come back. It was no law Anybody could kill a Jew without any thing, and you go to court. Jewish life was nothing.
And that change was almost instant when the war began?
Right away. I guess they had the war with the Jews more than anything else. Well, I did hear in the house, they said in 1918 when the Germans took over Poland, it wasn't too bad, maybe it's going to get better and stuff like this, but it never did get better.
Okay, so let's return to the football field. You were called,
So
and they sent you home?
Next week, every kid that got a card, everybody come. Thousands of us. And when we come over there, after a couple hours, and a lot of mothers, come with the kids, we didn't know from where, from everywhere come out. The Polish police, the Ukrainian, and the Gestapo, and the SS, and the Gendarmerie with machine guns, they start to shooting to the mothers,
They shot at the mothers?
Oh, because everybody been in the circle. And then they announced that we should stand up in the line, 5, and anschließen, hook it up in the hand. And of course it took time, then whatever the mothers, they pushed it back, whatever was alive, and they marched us to the train.
When was this?
This was 1940 in May, like beginning in May. And they took us to the train, they packed us in the train like sardine is nothing, And we stood like when it's got to get dark, the train started to move. In the middle of the night, by maybe 2 o'clock, it wasn't, from Radom to Lublin is about 45 kilometers, it's not too far. In the middle of the night when the train stopped, the guys, the kids, what they stayed by the window, was little windows to look out, they said that we are in Lublin, In Lublin, what do we do? What can we do in Lublin? And then we hear they open up already the trains to go out. We hear screaming and yelling and all that stuff. And when they opened the train where I was, it was a line like from here to the street. On this side, the Ukrainians with big sticks on this side, and we have to jump out. The train was like this, and we have to jump out. And the little kids, they fall down, and we have to jump on them. And they've been beating till we come on the street over there. And we come over the street, anschließen in 5 again.
You mean lock arms again?
Yeah, lock arms, And we start to walk and run and whatever they said, they had fun for it, And we come, I guess we passed the whole town, took a long time, And when we come to like an empty place, and we saw a sign, Lipova 7 Majdanek.
Lipova 7?
Lipova 7, this is the name, I guess, of the street, in Majdanek, that area, And they opened up the gate, and we saw a big line like this to walk in, and one side was a barrack, where they've been there, where they stayed, and the other side was a forest. I mean, not a heavy forest, but trees, And we went down, and we have to sit down one and the other one between the feet, and start to rain. In no time we've been sitting because it was, I don't know how to say in English.
A ditch?
Like a ditch, but it was away, but lower, you know. And we've been sitting in the water till here in no time. It was a heavy rain. And we've been sitting, and you can imagine all day long in this, like this, and but start to get a little bit light. An old German comes out and he talked Jewish like we would talk home, you know. He said, "Who wants to go to pray?" And we all said it's a trick. We shouldn't say anything. Nothing. But it was kids. They said, "Well, if he is so nice, he talks. Maybe he's Jewish." Another kid said. And maybe about 20 or maybe more of you, and they walked out over there where they stay, and a guy brought a yellow thing like this, you know.
A yellow cord?
A cord, and they tied them up, and we hear a click. And from this people, become like a baseball, you know, like when you throw a baseball ball, you know. And they become black, completely black, and they all died, you know.
They electrocuted these two?
Yeah. Like now. So in the morning, we have to stand up, and they give us 2 boys a saw, you know, and 2 more boys a hatch, you know. And they said that we have to cut down the trees. And the yelling and the screaming was, you take somebody and we start to saw this, you know, and the tree fall down, and many got killed, the tree fall down, you know. I mean, these things you have to do, professional people have to do these things, and know what to do. But we did it, you know. And after a few days, everybody got, there was no meat over here. Just you could see the bone, and you couldn't put in anything. But in the evening, somebody told us that with our urine, yeah, that we should put it on, you know. And this was helping a little bit. But after 2 weeks, this was no more people to work, you know, they thought. So they whatever was left, they marched us from Lublin to Belzec. In Belzec was the place where where they split Poland, you know. And we've been right on the border, like over here was the border, and it was a huge place, the place bigger than a baseball field, much bigger, you know. And a big German come out, and he even said the name. My name is Baxter, you know. But he got chunks of meat hanging from his face. A very tall guy. And he said that he was a boxer, and he was in a match with a Jewish boy, and that's what he did to him, you know. And he gonna take care of us, you know, like, we've been already, what gonna kill, and we've been waiting already to be killed, get it over, you know. And he arranged already, say he wants we should ditch a big hole, you know, to dig it out, a big hole. So he took 10 people around, you know, a circle, and we throw the dirt higher away. The other ones throw it farther and farther. And we work maybe 4 days, and we make a big hole, and one, it was like a little way that, like, cars should come in, or trucks, whatever it is, and trucks start to come in with people, women, children, and old people. And they had to get undressed, and they just dropped them in over there. And then we throw the dirt on him, and he said, if he gonna see anybody gonna cry, gonna go right in the ditch. And we stayed there over there a few weeks too, you know. And after this, they they marched us to a little village called Narol.
Didn't you tell me that this hole that you dug, it was about 5 houses wide?
Oh yeah, it was very wide, you know. Hundreds and hundreds of people laying there, you know.
And didn't you tell me that the Germans set the people on fire in the ditches?
Yeah, but after they did, we throw a little bit dirt on it, and they still was alive. They've been alive. And then he took some white powder, you know, what they used to paint the houses with this, you know, and they spread it out, you know, with this, and then they pour gasoline, and he put it on the fire.
And how many of you prisoners were watching this?
Oh my gosh, it was a lot, you know.
100?
Maybe more than see, we digged over here, the other ones were digging over there, you know.
And then there was like an alley going through it for the trucks to unload?
Yeah, they make a special where the truck come in, you know. A lot of gypsies too was there, a lot of gypsies. Everybody was, young people, kids, pregnant women, a lot of.
Can you estimate how many people were in that ditch?
Gosh, you see, we couldn't look, you know, and like I said, you should do your work. And if you're going to turn around, if I see anybody cry, you're going right in the ditch. So, you know, you do what you have to do.
And didn't you also tell me that the pit burned for about 3 to 5 days?
3 to 5 days or maybe more, you know. It's, in many cases, you know, they said that they saw that people, what they, you know, they still breathe. They could see with this lifted up a little bit, you know. And this was right on the border. So they marched us to Narol. Over there it was even worse, you know. When we come to Narol, they picked an empty place. It was maybe about 1,500 of us, you know. And they give us shovels. And they walked us, it was 6 kilometers from the place to the border. And we had to make ditches, you know. Like when we start over here, till let's say 10 feet, we go like this down, 4 feet, you know, down. And this, the ground, we pulled it up higher. So it was 8 feet altogether. This was against the tanks, shouldn't be able to go through. And on the other side was the Russians, you know. And actually, you know, the wires by the border, it was very easy. You go in and you go through. And when we come there, I begged my brother, I said, let's go over there to the Russians. It's going to be better than over here. And he said, no, we cannot go because we're going to run away. The Germans going to go and they're going to kill the parrots. I said, how could they? They wouldn't know it. We had the yellow card, we tore it up, and we destroyed it, you know? How would they know? They don't know. But I had to listen to him, you know, he didn't want to go. And quite few ran away, you know. And the Russians picked them up. I don't know if they sent them back or not. But after 3 days, they told us, anybody wants to go to the Russians, you can run. But the Russians, when somebody ran away, there was no way the Russians had to get you. Every 4 or 5 feet was another patrol. And the Russians took him back and they gave him to the Germans. And they killed him in the front of us, so it's no way. We worked there, and the Ukrainian was the patrol, and what they did, they killed. And the main man from there was a German. He was a short guy, a crippled guy, you know. His face was like by the ear, you know. His face could touch his ear. I'm telling you, you know. And he adopted a kid, 14, 15 years old. And they come out with 2 white horses every day. And they looked around and they picked up 2, 3 men. They have to dig. They all had their own grave. Not a grave, just they should be able to go in, you know. And he told the young boy he should learn how to shoot the people in the eyes. And they did. And sometimes he did, sometimes he missed it, but they all got killed, you know. And from there...
Okay. Can I ask you about how many people were still with you from Belzec to Narol?
But they picked already, we wasn't already everybody from Radom. It was from all over Poland they got, you know. We went to Narol, we come maybe about 1,500 people, or maybe more, or maybe a few less. But that thing, you know.
And how did you get from Belzec to Narol?
We walked. Same thing like we walked from Lublin to Belzec, you know, we walked, you know. And on the way, so many got killed, you know. You know, I mean, they just killed for fun. There was no reason to kill, they just killed for fun. So in Narol, we worked, but we had to pass a little forest. We walked maybe into the forest, maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. And I guess they've been afraid to walk there, you know. So they ordered us, we should sing songs. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what can we sing? So they didn't like it. They said, you don't do it such a good job. We're going to kill every 10 person. And they did, you know. And finally, one evening, a guy in the middle of the night come in to me, he said, Motl, I think I have a song maybe we can save, you know. Who knows, maybe tomorrow we're going to get killed, you know. And in the middle of the night, we cannot go to patrol, but in the morning when we stood by the appel, you know, to go to work, he actually gone to that patrolman and he said that we have a song. But if he give me a few minutes, he's going to tell how to, the half of it we're going to say one verse, and the other half the other one. And we did it, and when we come by that forest, you know, when we sing, the echo goes very high, and they